My name is Jeremy Wade. I'm an explorer, a biologist, and a fisherman. I travel the world's rivers in my search for freshwater monsters. And then I heard this story. People are disappearing in North India, swallowed by some kind of horrific river monster, a freshwater abomination. I'm going out there to investigate, to uncover the truth behind these horrifying stories. I'm going to hunt down the monster of the Kali River. To prove if it really exists.
They do exist.
I first heard these reports in 2005 when I was traveling in India. If they're true, they're the stuff of nightmares. The first victim is a young Nepali boy. Just 17 years old, Dil Bahadur is swimming while he and his girlfriend wait for the ferry. They are planning to cross into India to start a new life together. But their dream will never be fulfilled. Suddenly, and without warning, Dil disappears beneath the water, as if he is being pulled down by something below.
It all happened in a flash.
He never surfaces. And after days of searching, no remains of the young man are ever found. It's as if he's simply disappeared.
We found no body, no creature, nothing, for at least 5 kilometers.
Within a few months, the monster struck again. This time, it is a young boy washing in the river. He is standing in shallow water, no deeper than his knees. Suddenly he screams, "Something's grabbed me," before being dragged underwater. His father is only a few feet away. By the time he has come to his son's aid, the boy has completely vanished. Again, people search the water, hoping to find some trace, some clue as to how this tragedy occurred. Nothing is ever found. My quest has started. Both attacks happened on a short stretch of a remote river called the Kali, where this river forms the border between Nepal and India. This mystery can only be solved using logic and analysis. I cannot let my imagination get the better of me. I must keep an open mind. And the only way I can do that is to get to ground zero. I fly into Delhi, India's capital. Then an overnight train takes me to the northern frontier of the country.
As a biologist, it's in my nature to be sceptical, but as a travelling fisherman, I've actually seen enough to realise that not all fishermen's tales are pure imagination. The latest news is that people are still disappearing. The creature is still out there.
And from the last railhead, it's a 20-hour, bone-jarring journey higher into the Himalayas. I've now been travelling for over 2 days. the modern world might as well be a million miles away.
This road just gets washed away every year in the monsoons. I mean, you can't reach the area at all for sort of weeks on end very often. According to my map here, in fact, the road, doesn't even go to where I'm getting to, but just trust that we're going to get there. If anything goes wrong, I'm a long way from help, but it's getting too late to turn back now.
The river is named after Kali, the Hindu goddess of death and destruction. And the river itself flows out of the sacred Himalayas. This region has a long history of man-eaters and spirits, of demons and gods. This is where heaven meets earth, a place where reality and fantasy are almost one and the same. This is the perfect place for a monster. Maybe too perfect. I've made contact with an old friend, Vinny Badola. I've been on fishing trips with Vinny in the past, and I'm relying on him to help me speak with the local people. He's set up an expedition that will take me right over the monster's lair.
What I've got to do is have a really good look at the water where the monster is said to live and gather as much local intelligence as I can along the way. Now, the thing is, from the stories I've heard, it's supposed to operate in a length of river that's possibly 15 or 20 miles long.
So we're starting our expedition high up the valley at an altitude of some 2,000 feet.
The riverbank is just mountainside, and there's just no way I can do that on foot. Okay, we're going.
From here, there's no going back. The local name for the area I'm about to enter is the Gumdesh. It means the lost country. People have disappeared, swallowed by an underwater monster in the Kali River in North India. My mission is to travel downriver, collecting all the information I can to find out exactly what is going on. My first stop is Rolgat, where Dil Bahadur disappeared. Vinny's organised a meeting with a man who was there at the time. His name is Bhuvan Punetha.
And is this the place where the story features? Mr. Punetha was waiting for the ferry to come across the river. There were 3 other people, his friend and this young Nepali couple. And he said the boy in shallow water, knee-deep water, he just disappeared too quickly even to scream, to shout. I mean, what alerted them was the fact that the girl screamed. They just disappeared under the water, and it's calm water. It's not the fast bit of the pool, and he didn't see a fish or anything at all. There was just a disturbance, and the boy went, and it happened right here where I'm looking now. I mean, it's very hard to believe, but he saw it with his own eyes.
Perhaps what Mr. Punetha saw has a less mysterious cause. Could it actually be just a consequence of the turbulent Kali River? Maybe Dil died as a result of being sucked down by the huge forces generated by whirlpools.
New fishing rod?
To find out, I use a depth sounder to determine the topography of the river and the pools. I'm looking for sudden deep holes, evidence of whirlpool activity, a place where undercurrents might drag a swimmer underwater.
I'm going to put up the sensitivity here. I'm going to crank it up.
By 20 feet, look, I'm touching the rock. 20 foot, right there.
There is deep water close to the bank.
Look at that crack there. Do you know what I can do? I can shove this pole in that crack. So literally I'll just move it 6 inches sideways and we've got 23 foot.
In fact, near the rocky outcrop, the water is as deep as 28 feet. These areas of deep water are created as the water is forced around a bend. The same force creates a series of shifting whirlpools.
It is a very powerful river, and there are places literally where, yes, you can be in knee-deep water, you take one step and you're in 30 foot or whatever, and I think, you know, you take a mouthful of water, you go under, that's it, you don't come up.
Yet these places are away from the area where Dil Bahadur disappeared.
What's interesting, though, is that a lot of these stories are not from the, you know, the rougher bits of the river. They are from the quiet places, normally in the pools where there's a ferry and you've just got gently shelving water, and they disappear. Now that doesn't quite you know, fit with the idea of it's always the water.
Mr. Punetha remains doubtful that Dil's disappearance was simply drowning. The next incident certainly wasn't. It's only a mile or so downstream where the next case occurred. Dharmagat is another ferry crossing point. The 10-year-old boy was definitely grabbed by something. Those were his final words, heard by people on the riverbank. But by the time anyone had come to help, he'd vanished. No one saw a thing. What an unimaginable tragedy. Whatever grabbed him must have been extremely powerful to have dragged the boy underwater so quickly. The next case is even scarier. This time the victim was not a small defenseless boy, but an adult buffalo.
The buffalo went into the shallow water over there. As it was drinking water, something dragged it in. We saw something struggling with the buffalo. Then it disappeared into the deeper water.
Kesar Singh witnessed his father's fully grown buffalo being dragged to its death from the side of the river, only 40 inches deep.
It was larger than the buffalo.
Buffalo in this region can weigh between 500 and 800 pounds and reach over 6 foot in length. What animal is capable of dragging an 800-pound domestic buffalo to its death? There is one obvious suspect. Is the monster I'm looking for a giant crocodile? Crocodiles are often seen in and around the rivers of northern India. With jaws capable of exerting a force of 1,000 pounds to crush the skull bones of victims, they're well-known man-eaters. India's leading expert on these apex predators is Ron Whitaker, an American expatriate. He's got up close with all three species that inhabit India and Nepal: the salty, the gharial, and the mugger. The likeliest culprit is the mugger, as it is the most widespread. Reaching lengths of 18 foot, they are serious predators and have even been observed feeding on tiger. They could easily make short work of a mammal, even one the size of a buffalo.
Muggers have been known to attack and kill livestock, such as cows and buffaloes, on a fairly regular basis in some parts of India. Mugger crocodiles are not typically known as man-eaters, but there's no reason why they shouldn't attack humans, and it does happen sometimes.
Could it be that this creature, living up to its name, has hauled a buffalo to its death and attacked and killed at least 3 people in the cold mountain river, the Kali?
In the lower part of the Kali River, before it enters the Ganges, where it spreads out and where it's flowing slowly, the water is warm and sustains mugger crocodiles.
Rol Gut, where Dil Bahadur disappeared, is 2,000 feet above sea level. And here, the water is both faster and colder.
Mugger crocodiles typically prefer deep pools and slower flowing rivers and nice embankments to haul out on and bask.
No one has seen any sign of a mugger in the area of the disappearances, so I travel downriver to scale the banks at lower altitude. Muggers are less agile out of water and are easily visible on land. Coming ashore to bask in the sun and lay their eggs, they'll remain out of the water for up to 12 hours each day.
We have it on good authority that crocodiles aren't around here. In fact, the people don't see them. You'd see them out of the water if they were here, but it's just the terrain is wrong, the altitude is, it's too high, the water's too cold, there aren't crocs.
There is no evidence of any species of crocodile here, and certainly not higher up the river. So what sort of creature is responsible for these deaths? We camp at the location of another attack, Nagru Ghat. There is a similarity in all the attack sites. Fast streams feeding deep pools, natural places for ferry crossings. And for those who don't know these stories, perfect swimming pools. He is 18 years old, Atul Kumar, and he is swimming with a friend. They decide to swim to the other side, a distance of some 70 yards. His friend reaches the safety of the far bank. But without warning, without a sound, Kumar disappears. His distraught family launches a search for him. But just like the other cases, nothing is found. But this time, the monster slipped up. This time, a local man, saw the monster in the act. He draws the head of the beast in the sand.
It says looks like an elongated pig.
Or you actually saw this?
Yes, he's actually seen it.
Right.
Right.
And he gives it a name, the Soos. But what is a Soos? If I find the identity of this monster, then I have my killer. Maybe the Soos is just some kind of giant fish. Maybe all I need to do to solve this mystery is do what I do best, go fishing. But just as I'm starting to get comfortable with what I'm looking for, I get thrown a wild card.
Something is investigating the bait, and there's part of me looking at that water that is saying, I hope it's only a small one. But actually, what I really want is a big one. That is direct to a fish. It feels like the bottom, but it's actually a fish. I'm just gonna, it hasn't woken up, it doesn't know it's hooked yet. Look at that rod, but it still doesn't actually know it's hooked. Take this easy. Be ready for it to run though, it might well run. It's actually in very close. There's the trace. The fish is going to be visible very soon. Ah, see the bubbles. Oh. Turtle, turtle, turtle. I've just got the mother of all turtles. The mother of all turtles.
Although they're hardly ever seen, these waters are home to the biggest freshwater turtles in the world. This one would weigh in at about 200 pounds. That's heavier than I am. Could the soos be a turtle?
Big stone here, big stone! Big stone here!
They sure have the attitude. That neck is nearly half its body length.
We need to cut the line. Blimey, O'Reilly.
The reason these creatures are so rare is they're a favourite food. Turtles here are eaten. If the soos was a turtle, the people would have just told me. But could it be the killer?
Soft-shell turtle. Very vicious jaws this end, but not quite what I was after.
Turtles are not active predators. They're scavengers. They just sit and wait, fattening themselves up. And the chances of a turtle grabbing a swimmer, it doesn't really add up. Let alone snatch a fully grown buffalo. At least this one gets to fight another day.
Bye-bye, and don't come back.
My mission is to find the identity of the Kali killer. I'm working through the possible suspects, but I'm not getting much help.
Despite being such a sparsely populated area, people have turned up after we've stopped and made camp. The river had risen and it was making a largish pool down there. It's interesting, there's a curiosity about what I'm doing here, but also there's a certain amount of suspicion as well. And some of the people who were going to come and talk to me have actually not turned up. And I can sort of see things from their point of view. The whole thing about coming all this way, you know, it is a bit unlikely, really. Surely I must have other motives, you know, whatever they are, but whatever they are, they can't be good. So, you know, a few people have actually decided to stay away.
The
only thing they found was a slipper and her scarf.
Yeah.
When I first came here, I thought that people might be clamouring for me to help them rid the place of this man-eater, and that they might help me track it down. This region is a very mystical place, a very spiritual place, and Kali plays an important role here, not just the river, but the goddess.
Hindus believe that as the body is recycled, so is the spirit. So every end is also a beginning. And it's interesting then that despite her role as the destroyer, the devotees of Kali also see her as the mother of the universe.
I'm tracking a freshwater monster, a man-eater. I've been told it is a soos, a creature that looks like an elongated pig. But what is a soos? I was about to find out.
Vinay's just introduced me to Jogger Singh, who's in his 70s now. He's lived on the river a long time. He's actually worked on the river. He's floated on log rafts down here and has probably seen and heard more than anybody else in these parts. So just going to sort of quiz him a little bit on, you know, the detail of some of those stories.
Mr. Singh immediately starts to talk about the soos. I get the feeling I'm closing in.
He says a soos is a creature which, if it sucks, it can suck you in from a distance.
Things that have been lurking in the corners of my mind come lurching forward.
When a fish does get big, when it opens its mouth, it does create this kind of vacuum. And people don't tend to understand. They think that a fish actually just bites something, but actually a big fish, when it opens its mouth, it creates this vacuum. And the bigger the fish, the longer the distance that it can suck over. So you wouldn't actually, you wouldn't necessarily see anything.
It wouldn't be too far from the truth to say it's actually sucking it in. He says it's huge. It's bigger than that. It's longer than this distance.
It's about, what, 9 or 10 foot, something like that?
Thereabouts. It's bigger than that.
Even his seemingly wild claims about the size are suddenly making sense.
Color kya hua uska?
Then a single word crashes through, a name.
He said it looks like a goonch, but it's vast and it's black.
Goonch, I know that name. A local name for a rarely seen species of predatory catfish, also known as the giant devil catfish, goonch.
Yeah, actually, Vinny, that's really interesting. I think that does actually start to clarify things, pull all these odd, weird strands together.
I think I have my culprit. Are all these killings the work of a giant, rarely seen predatory catfish, the goonch? Now I know its identity, it still sounds incredible. All I've got to do is prove it. I have to catch a goonch big enough to be a man-eater. I'm right here in the heart of the monster's territory, and we're camping next to a pool which has all the hallmarks of an attack site. This place is starting to cast a spell.
It's another pretty cold, chilly day out there again, and I can't even see the river. Just had another rather fitful night, interrupted by visions of dark, turning water and underwater caverns and something that is capable of dragging in people and animals.
Every waking moment is spent fishing. But I keep coming up blank. Nothing stirs.
As much as I like rivers, I'd rather appreciate this one, I think, from my armchair. The cold is starting to get into my bones, and it's hard going.
I think I need some help, and I've got a plan. I've managed to get a message out. Someone should be on their way. Marine biologist and cameraman Rick Rosenthal has vast experience of finding and filming the largest and most dangerous marine predators. I'm thinking, if I can't catch a goonch on my line, maybe we can catch one on film.
This is Rick. Hello, Rick. Your name?
And although this has never been done before, Rick is the perfect man to help me.
And he brought those fishing rods.
I know a place where Rick and I can get to know our adversary before heading into the monster's lair. It's a place where you can sometimes see goonch. It's near Corbett National Park.
Yeah, Jeremy, we just can't go charging into a river like this without a good plan, especially if there's something in there that can potentially eat us.
And from a high vantage point, Rick gets his first glimpse of some kind of river creature.
Yeah, I can see the pectoral fins. It looks like a shark, looks like a nurse shark.
But hundreds of miles from the sea, this is no shark. That is a goonch. It's time to get a fish's eye view. The pools are deep and inaccessible, so we take no chances, and use a camera mounted in a mini submarine to look around.
All right, Jeremy, let's launch this, huh? Got an image yet?
Got an image, I'm just under the surface.
Lights on?
take it down about right there.
And straight away, we're seeing fish. Lots of fish. It seems there's a good food supply for a hungry goonch.
What's happening now? What's happening now? What's happening? What's happening?
I think we have a catfish tucked into an underwater crevice.
There he is, there he is, there he is.
It's a goonch.
It's quite spooky because there's this tail poking out and the body just disappears into the dark and you can't see how long the body goes on for. So, now, can you see? There's the tail, there's the tail.
It's amazing seeing one of these fish so clearly. But could one of these really be a man-eater? It's time to take a closer look.
Are you ready?
This cloudy water makes the whole experience really creepy. I keep expecting a monster to loom out of the murk. And then one does, and it's not alone.
How many do you see?
I think I saw 3.
There's more than that.
Yeah.
There's a whole pile of them in here. They're not like you think. Not kidding you, there's at least 6 in here. They're all stacked in there like cordwood. There's some powerful animals in there too. I would not want to run onto those 9 feet long. They're just such a horror. Oh. And they're strong, they're really strong. One of them just walked the camera with a tail, and I'll tell you, this is not a fat catfish. This thing is strong. I can see it could pull somebody in.
Yeah.
This is the first time the goonch catfish has ever been filmed in its natural habitat. And we get not just 1, but 6, all tight against the rock wall.
I just happened to find it by luck, really. Looked, and there was 1, and there was 2, 3, and there was 3 on the wall. There was 6 of them right in the area about 2 meters. They're kind of spooky fish, especially in that dark overhangs. Their tails are just sticking out. At least 5 or 6 feet long in there. They bumped the camera a couple times underwater, and I could feel their strength.
Now we have hard proof that there are large goonch in these waters, that they stick together and are found in the deep pools, tight against the rocks. But none of these is the man-eater. The chances of that being the biggest fish there is are, sort of minuscule. They must be bigger than that. Now that we have the first ever footage of goonch in the wild, it's time for Rick and me to confront the Kali and the monster that lurks in its depths. But we must hurry. The monsoon, the seasonal downpour, is fast approaching, and it will turn this river into a raging torrent. But before setting off, Vinny has a surprise for me.
This was a goonch catfish.
Wow. There's 2 guys there, they can hardly lift the whole thing out. I mean, what's that? That's about 7 foot long or more?
This was 7 feet 4.
7 feet 4.
We couldn't lift it, so we couldn't weigh it at all.
Yeah.
But it must have been in the vicinity of around 120 kilos or so.
Yeah. In terms of getting an accurate idea of its size, one of its fins is sticking out of the water here, and that's about the size of somebody's forearm. So its mouth is going to be something like that.
But the head was actually about this broad or so.
Yeah.
And when you open it up, it'll open into the size of a 60-liter drum.
So you could actually probably disappear head and shoulders inside it.
Quite.
It wouldn't need to be, that much bigger than that to be, seriously dangerous.
This monster was found dead in a different river, so it couldn't have been the Kali killer. But what it does show is that the goonch we saw were just small fry, even though some of them were 4 or 5 foot long. Now, all I have to do is prove that a monster fish exists here, in the Kali River. But the question is, how does a goonch become a supersized monster? There might be a grisly answer. Here, there is an unusual and regular supply of food. Human corpses. It is the Hindu custom to burn the dead on the banks of the river before consigning their remains to the waters. Pandit Kamlesh Vyas is a leading Hindu cleric and has personal experience of this practice.
They'll burn the funeral pyre, and when the body is even half burned, they'll just push it away or just slide it into the river. Once the soul is gone, that means your body is just a thing actually. So water creatures, they can use the body as their food.
Is this fish getting fat on human remains?
The theory that this monster has grown extra large on a diet of partially cremated corpses is something that the local people actually said to me. Sounds pretty gruesome, but of course it's just perfectly natural behaviour for a scavenger. The thing about these stories, though, is that this monster appears to have made this sinister quantum leap to feeding on living animals, including people.
But just how big could a goonch get? That's the ultimate question.
Creatures that live in the water can just keep on growing if they've got enough food. And there will be a few freak individuals which have grown bigger than the other ones there, and if you put in lots of artificial food, those creatures will grow even bigger.
We set up camp at the place where the buffalo disappeared, but conditions have already changed.
What are your first impressions of the water, Rick?
Murky. Really murky. Be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so brown. We're a little late, aren't we? The runoff has begun, and it's going to be difficult to see anything in that water.
I've brought this guy here halfway around the world from California to a river that just looks like soup, and what he must be thinking, I just don't know. I knew that the visibility here, is not good at the best of times, but it is really murky now, and it's just so disappointing to hear him say there is absolutely no way he's going to get in the water. There's just no point. You can see about this far in front of your face.
Rain and snowmelt have coloured the water. The monsoons are starting sooner than we thought.
You earned it.
After a couple of days, the water has still not cleared. And after another day of hanging on, well, there's just no point Rick being here. And he decides to leave.
Okay, Jeremy. Well, good luck.
Have a good journey. So now it's back to the rod again, I guess.
It is.
Being on my own again really makes me feel the remoteness of this place and the sheer enormity of what I've got to do, because Rick and I have just thrown everything at this, and we haven't so much as had a glimpse of this killer fish. So in a way I just feel as if I'm back where I started. I've just come full circle. It's back to a line in the water.
I have got to know this river. I've heard the horror stories, seen the evidence for myself. I've worked out what the soos is, what it looks like and where it lives. The next step is to try and fish one out.
I have at least got a much clearer idea of what I'm dealing with now, but it's still a needle in a haystack.
And the monsoon is fast approaching.
I can feel the air pressure building and you've got these clouds boiling up. And, you know, if the rains come, I could be stranded here, and that, you know, really focuses the mind.
The brown water that sent Rick home is getting worse, and the water level is beginning to rise.
I've just got to get cracking. I've got to get a bait in the water in front of something, and it hasn't happened yet. There is still time, but the pressure is not just the atmospheric pressure, the pressure is building.
But this rising water has got the goonch biting, and I'm quickly into some fish.
That is a goonch. It's not a very big one.
Each catch gives me data on these fish, like how big their mouth is in relation to body size. Information that will help me calculate how big a man-eating goonch really needs to be.
Look at the length of the tentacles on the tail. Look at that. Can you imagine that scaled up to about 3 times the length and grabbing you by the leg and dragging you under?
Goonch have huge backward-facing teeth, the teeth of a predator.
It might not be the Kali monster, but it's a monster.
The fish are getting bigger, but still no monster. And with conditions worsening, I have one last trick up my sleeve.
One thing people have said about this creature is that it is actually attracted by commotion on the riverbank, particularly the flames, vibration, smells, everything associated with these riverside funerals. So I'm building a simulated funeral pyre to try and call the creature in.
That night, nothing stirs. But in the morning,
It's in the fast water. Something very powerful in here. Try and relax and keep a bit calm. Gaining a tiny bit of line. Right, the water is flowing this way now. I've got it into the water that's flowing this way.
I have been fishing long enough that I've developed a kind of sixth sense. I know when I have a big fish on, and this is a big fish.
It's goonch, no, it's goonch. There's a lot of line out and some very strong water the other side of it, so it's...
The big problem here is that if it gets out of this pool, I am never going to be able to pull this fish back up against this current.
Very touch and go, very touch and go.
And then it does exactly what I didn't want it to do. Either this fish is gone, or I've got to do something drastic.
I'm going to have to go for a swim.
I've just hooked a massive fish. Is this the one I'm after?
I'm going to have to go for a swim.
I don't know what I'm thinking, apart from being desperate not to lose this fish, regardless of my own safety.
Wait till it comes up. Wait. Now! That is a serious-sized goonch. That is a man-sized animal. That is as big as a person. It is bigger than a lot of people around here. That is a big fish. They do exist, the goonch do exist. 6 foot of muscle behind that mouth, and those teeth are just like shark teeth pointing back. If that got hold of you, there'd be no getting away. When I was diving with Rick, and we were seeing these beasts under the water, and they just look so otherworldly. Is it a hallucination? Do these things really exist? And yes, the goonch does exist. Just the absolute perfect predator. Huge mouth on there. Huge, huge, huge mouth. And if anything just comes down within range of that mouth, it's too late. I mean, big as this fish is, the fish that is taking people would be bigger than this. I mean, it wouldn't actually need to be more than a couple of feet longer, but that would really give it a bit more weight. I mean, it would probably weigh twice as much as this. And, you know, just the thought of that is quite terrifying. Okay, is it off the ground?
Now, yes.
Okay, 166, 161 pounds.
The description given by Surendra Bora of the creature as an elongated pig easily corresponds with the smooth, scaleless back of the goonch. Kesar Singh's statement that he saw a black shape also matches. And the sucking force caused by the opening of a vast mouth that Jogar Singh talks about, that also matches. I think that what the eyewitnesses saw was not an elongated pig, not a mythical creature, the Seuss, but this, the giant devil catfish, a monster-sized goonch fattened on human remains.
I think it's time he went back in the water. He's starting to recover. Back in the water just to get the last little bit of energy, and then back home, I think, for me and the fish.
Goonch catfish are now very rare. This monster's not the Kali killer. Even at 161 pounds, it's just not big enough. I came to prove that giant catfish exist here, and I've done that. I never set out to persecute these amazing animals.
Taking a long time.
And the people here feel very much the same. With that in mind, I let my monster go. The beautiful irony is that the presence of these giants means the river is healthy and alive. The day the monsters disappear is the day the river dies. And I have no doubt there are monsters far bigger than my goonch, alive and well in the Kali River.
I have to wonder, though, is even this immense waterway big enough to cope with what's being thrown at it? Recent reports describe a river that's overwhelmed by